We know there are a lot of things you could be doing on this beautiful day, and we certainly do appreciate that you decided to join us in the trenches with Dave Lapham, brought to you by First Star Logistics. As always, coming to you from the studio that is second to none. It's as good as it gets, and we are very pleased and privileged that we get to use it on a regular basis because it is that good, as is our special guest. He is that good and more. Anthony Muñoz. Here's a guy that, man, 11 straight Pro Bowls. What? Are you kidding me? A record. I mean, 11 straight Pro Bowls. You know, if you make the Pro Bowl, it's a hell of an accomplishment. I mean, if you make a Pro Bowl one during the course of your career, you know, you're a proud guy, man. I mean, you're a happy camper. If you make multiple, you know, 2 or 3, it's like, wow, that I couldn't have asked for more. To make 11 straight Pro Bowls, it's 2 things. It's that you are a dominant player, and Anthony Muñoz was definitely that. I think the definition of dominance, I mean, every way you can be dominant, he was dominant. His physical traits and attributes were extraordinary, and he utilized them to the highest level to dominate his opponent. And then you have to have a mentality and a mindset to do it over and over and over again. You know, not just for a season, not just for a game, not just for a month or a year, but 11 straight years. You know, the determination, the want to be great is the drive to achieve that is extraordinary. And Anthony had it, man. I mean, it was overdrive, not just drive to be great. It was overdrive every single day, not just game day. Game day is when you go out there, you have fun, you know, you're out there performing everything that you prepared for all week long and all the hard work you went into it at practice. But every single day at practice, I mean, Anthony was set a standard. Here's how you work. Here's how you practice. Here's how you become great. This is what you have to do on a day in, day out basis, in the classroom, on the football field, in the weight room. You know, everywhere you can be great, try to be great. And Anthony Muñoz was great. Capital letters, great. And we are certainly pleased to have him join us here today in the trenches with Dave Lapham to talk about that brilliant career, maybe a little bit about the Cincinnati Bengals, and Jim McNally had a little gathering up in Canton that was fun. Ant was a big part of that as well. So good morning, big man. How you be?
Lap, I'm doing great, man. Appreciate those kind words. It's anytime you contact me to do a show, man, I love doing it because you do a great job hosting, and it gives us a chance to reminisce and talk about the good old days and even what's going on now. But I'm doing well. You know, staying busy, but not crazy busy, and getting excited about this upcoming season. But you know, it's interesting. You just listening to all those great compliments. And the thing I kept talking about, and you mentioned the one thing about getting the opportunity to celebrate and to be up in Canton with Jim McNally. But when I looked around up there and I saw you and Max and Kaz and Blaze and Joe, and I mean, all the guys that I had a chance to, and Reimers, you know, and Smitty, and then Rourke coming to town. I mean, to me, that's what it's all about, man. You know, we both played this game for a lot of years, and you take the offensive line, man, and you got that group and you have that union, and it's something that you know, you build that bond, and it lasts forever. And it's, you know, we're up there limping around a lot grayer, and but it seems like it was back in the early 80s, late 80s, you know, just reminiscing and being around each other. And so, you know, to me, that's what it's all about, man. You talk about the work ethic, you talk about the accomplishments, and it's the guys you're lining up next to that really motivates you and that keep you accountable. Because, you know, I know every Sunday I lined up, if it was for you, next to you, my first 4 years, or Reimers, or whoever was next to me, I wanted to make sure that I was ready, that you could depend on me, not only as a line mate, but as a teammate. And to me, that was just busting it year round, because I wanted to be, you know, I wanted to be first and foremost the best teammate, the best prepared, and then hopefully, that would carry over to others. But that's what I learned growing up as a kid. And Dave, you spent a full couple of days with me during the time when I got inducted back in Ontario, California.
Right.
And that was the attitude I had as a kid when I started playing baseball. And as a 7-year-old, I was going to be a major league baseball player, and I did whatever I had to do to be the best baseball player. But as we all know, I kept growing and growing, and football became the sport. So that's what I grew up around: work ethic, responsibility, and just hard work, man. That's how you accomplish things, especially when you come from a background like I did. It was all about survival. It was about hard work, and I'm thankful that carried on through my NFL career and through life.
Yeah, let's talk about the baseball side of it that you made mention of. That was your sport. I mean, early on, as a younger child, you wanted to be a Major League Baseball player, like you said, and you were a Major League Baseball prospect. There's no question about it. I mean, you had unbelievable arm talent, amazingly strong arm. No shock there. You pitched, you played shortstop, you were a catcher. You did, just like as a football player, extremely versatile. You could do anything on a baseball field as well, hit the cover off the ball, and you can hit the power, do all the things that were necessary in that regard as well. Yeah. I mean, how seriously were you thinking that, hey, Major League Baseball is the way I'm going to go here? What age were you when you're still thinking I can be a Major League Baseball player? Because you probably could have been.
Well, it's interesting because I did start playing at a very young age, and I realized that I'd been given the gift. God gave me the gift to play baseball. Of course, having two older brothers helped. I just kind of tagged right along with them. And, I guess the thing I look at now that really was the key to my success in baseball was that not only the fundamentals, but the knowledge. I looked, the situations. I was always taught situations, man. If I was playing third or short, and I got a cutoff, I always knew where to go. If a ground ball was hit to me, I knew how many outs. I knew where to go. If I had to hold the runner at second, go to first, or if that was the fun thing for me, and it became fun, playing in the NFL, the whole strategy of the game. But you talk about how old was I? I still had thoughts of maybe going to college, even though I was going on a football scholarship to USC. They had agreed to let me play baseball.
Right.
And but because of injuries, I only played 1 year. And I don't know. I mean, a lot of times as an individual, you think maybe you could. I don't know. But I played with a couple. The 1 year I played baseball at USC, we won the World Series, and I have a couple close friends still now that played in the major leagues after college, and and I respect their opinion a lot. And they felt that the pitching instruction I had and how I came along that 1 year, they felt that I had a pretty good chance of going in the major leagues and pitching. But I don't know. I have a tendency to say, well, maybe not. But a couple real close guys that played a few years thought so. But yeah, it was still sophomore year in college. I thought, I still was thinking seriously about baseball, even though football was the sport. But so I realized my junior year that now you can't think baseball anymore. Just be a baseball fan and really focus on football. And I'd say probably my junior year of college, that's when I really said, okay, now I got to focus, concentrate, and football is going to hopefully be my meal ticket.
How about a 6'6", 275 to 280-pound pitcher throwing BBs, man? I mean, by the time you finish your stride to the plate with the long body and release that baseball, I should say, with that long arm, I mean, hitters had to be intimidated, man. You're like right on top of them, and here came a pea. A pea's coming at you, man, about 98 miles an hour. That had to be intimidating. Did you have a full arsenal? Were you fastball, curveball, slider, all of it?
It's funny, a couple of things. So first of all, you talk about college. So back before the high numbers in baseball, it was usually just 1 to 20, and that was it. My college coach actually had to make a jersey for me a little bigger than most of the baseball players. He went with number 77, my football number.
Love it.
So you can imagine all the ripping I got and all going to the Way Stadium. But it's interesting. I played mainly third base in high school and pitched a bit. But then when I got to college, when I pitched in high school, I had a fastball, curveball. and that was it. If one or the other wasn't working, man, I was in trouble. But I pretty much got by with the fastball, curveball. I went to college. We had a great pitching coach, Marcel Latchman, and he taught me a change. And I'm thinking, okay, now I got this change. That's working great. And Lap, you probably remember Don McMahon pitched for the Giants. He happened to be down at SC. He was close friends with the coaches, and he was
Huh.
working with the pitchers. He taught me a slider.
Ha
I'm
ha.
thinking, holy smokes, man! If I would have had a fastball, curveball, change and slider in high school, man, that would have been fun. But I was able to develop that slider, man. I tell you what, that's a heck of a pitch. And so the year I pitched, I was able to work on all four. And I was excited after that one year that hopefully I could play another couple. So, but I didn't. But that one year I played, it was fun developing a couple extra pitches. And I can say that I played college baseball and I played and I'm undefeated. I was 1-0.
Nice, nice. So, Ant, the mentality that it takes to pitch. I mean, you have to have extreme focus, and you have to feel like, you're the best. You're better than anybody. And when I'm on, nobody's going to touch me.
Right.
It kind of translates to what you have to do in football, particularly in the offensive line. You have to have extreme focus. Know everything you're supposed to do, how you're supposed to do it, just like pitching, the mechanics and fundamentals and techniques and all that.
Yeah.
There are a lot of parallels, aren't there? A lot of things that you took from your baseball career, pitching and playing baseball in general, and applying that. There's some carryover to what you had to do to be the talented football player that you were.
There really is, Lap. And let's go back a little bit to when I was a child. And I have a brother that's 8 years older than me. And he said something to me as a kid that he's 8 years older. So he was in high school when I was starting to play baseball.
Yeah.
Kind of a mentor on the baseball field, teaching me how to stop a short hop without turning my head. Took a few short hops to the chest before I learned how to get the glove on it.
Right.
But he said something that really, I think, allowed me to focus and to really work and not think about the other things. He said, Anthony, don't ever talk about how good you are. If you're good enough, people will talk about it. So that to me said, I got one focus, and that's getting as good as I can, developing and being the best. And that's what I tried to do in baseball, and it carried over to football. And you talk about the carryovers, and I share this even today when I'm talking about pitching and offensive line play. And, you played for McNally, I played for McNally. And the great thing about playing for Jimmy is that he gave us such an arsenal, so many tools in the tool shed that we could use, that we could change up. And to me, if I was a pitcher and threw you Lap a fastball every single play, every single pitch, you would time it, you would sit on it, then you could hit it. But if I threw you a fastball, I threw you a curve, I came back to the fastball, threw you a slider, threw you a change, going back to a fastball, another fastball. And that's what I saw being offensive lineman. If I was pass blocking against you, I could short set you. I could jump you. I could set with a little deeper set, So I tried to change it up. And that's what we worked on all week, is not letting that defensive lineman settle into vertical jump or vertical pass set every single play, or, going out and meeting him. But I was going to change it up, make him think, jump him. There's a run coming. Nope, hit him and then back off. It's a pass. So to me, that was the fun thing about the strategy as an offensive lineman and as a pitcher. And both, you wanted to have control. You wanted to impose your will, with a fastball or a curveball, and the same thing in run blocking and pass block. You wanted to set the tempo early on, and that was the same thing. When I was pitching, I wanted to let the guys know that, I could come with some heat, or I could come with the curveball, whatever. And the same thing in football. You're going to come with this or come that. Don't let them get comfortable. Don't let them think that they have a read on you.
I love it. That's tremendous. Talking about the analogies between those two sports. And the thing about you, Anthony, I'll never forget it. I mean, you get drafted, you come to Cincinnati, and it's like, man, the sunlight in the doorway is gone. It's like a shadow, man. You're blocking the door. I'm like, this is the biggest human being I think I've ever met.
Are you talking about my body or my hair?
Yeah, you had a nice throw going, man. There's no question. That was sweet. That was sweet. But yeah, your frame, broad shoulders, just such a big man. And big hands, it's like, oh my gosh, this guy, the good Lord said, I'm going to make an offensive line body that will be a prototype for the National Football League. And Anthony Muñoz, you're going to be my guy. And it is amazing. And then, to watch you go out in mini camps and stuff and move and show the athleticism and the strength and the power. And I was like, oh my gosh, man, this guy he's a prototype. He is a living prototype. This is extraordinary. Were you always like a cut above in terms of what the norm was for your age level in terms of size, athletic ability, and all that sort of thing? And when did you realize that, man, the good Lord had blessed you big time?
Yeah. Well, there's no question about it, Lap. It is a gift. God, gifted me in several different ways. And, I learned early on, and that's why I'm so big on multiple sports. And I understand that it's very difficult now. But, man, if I hadn't played third base at 275 and able to move laterally and backwards, and I tell people,
Amazing.
I probably had to hit a ball twice as far as you, Lap, to get around the bases because my straight ahead speed was not it started to develop late in high school and then early college, but you could not bunt on me. I could play level with the base. I could play up. You could lay down the best bunt and I could get to it and throw you out. But so I was blessed with flexibility. I was able to sit down and move laterally. And then at 275, guarding guys on the basketball court that were 170, I had to do the same thing. I had to move my feet. I had to move. I had to bend at the knees, not at the hip. And we talk about that. Lap is, when you can get low, you can bend at the knees, and then when you make contact, then you uncoil and explode. And that's what I believe God gave me the ability to do, was to keep that bend in the knees, to stay low for a taller guy, but then uncoil. And I noticed that on the baseball field, playing third base, that ability, and then football. And of course, basketball, the ability to move and guard quicker guys. And so, yeah, I saw that early on. I was able, I'll never forget. I was 9 years old, and we drove. It was a big trip. It was about a 15-minute trip down to Riverside. It was a big trip. We played in a baseball tournament. We won the championship, and they wouldn't give us the trophy because they demanded that my mom bring my birth certificate. And it was like, hey, I'm sitting there as this 9-year-old little kid that just won a championship, and they're demanding a birth certificate. I never had that happen before. So, yeah, I noticed early on that, I could excel at different sports with individuals a little older. But again, getting back to that multiple sports, man, I wouldn't trade playing basketball or baseball for anything, because we talked about the analogy about pitching and playing football. I tell you what, think about the position that you have to get. If you're waiting for a serve from tennis, if you're guarding somebody, even swinging a golf club, you have that little knee bend. Everything is being in an athletic position, and starting to play third base at the age of 8, all the way through high school and college. That helped me tremendously, man. It's just so helpful to be able to do that.
Man, you talk about that position, that athletic position that you have to get in to be an athletic or a successful athletic lineman. And bending at the knees, not at the waist, keeping the head out of there, the shoulders back, so you can't they don't grab you and all that sort of thing. But like you said, it applies to every sport. I mean, that's the athletic position that you assume. To move, that's the way you start out, the beginning of a match or a game or whatever, a snap, every single sport. And the fact that you played basketball at the level that you played at, I do remember that now, that you were a good high school basketball. You were an all-league basketball player, weren't you?
I was kind of like second team, but I enjoyed it. I was a 2-year starter on the varsity. And one of the things that I got to share, so Ronnie Lott, who I played 3 years with at USC, of course, he went on a great career in the NFL, Hall of Famer. We competed against each other in high school for 2 years, football, basketball, and baseball.
Wow.
And one of the things, and I'm thankful I had a little bit of shiftiness in my feet. One of the things he would do, if they would get the rebound or we'd score, he'd bring the ball down court, and he would kind of dart in front of me and kind of stop to try to have me run up his back,
Right.
I had to kind of be shifty at the because he would just kind of smile, knowing what he was trying to do. But yeah, so that basketball, I can tell you, really helped me out. Just the ability to the conditioning, the running, being able to move laterally, and guarding somebody that was much smaller. So yeah, I mean, it's one of those things that. I do say I got one scholarship offer in basketball, and that was to Occidental College.
Nice, nice. That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, not many people can say that college basketball offer, college football offers, and decided to go with the football. That's phenomenal. The thing that you talk about laterally, moving laterally and changing direction, that to me was the final separator when I watched you go out on a football field. And you were so athletic and in tight quarters and powerful, but when I saw you move laterally and change direction, and you're moving with guys the size of defensive backs. I mean, we had a drill between the cones, that change of direction drill that Jimmy Mack used to do, and he'd have defensive backs, try to juke us and fake us out. And you're just like you're moving fluidly, smoothly with these guys. I'm like, that's unbelievable, man. That's one of one. There's not another guy in the league over 250 pounds that can move like this guy's moving, man. To move laterally and change direction like you did, it's extraordinary. It's one of one.
It's amazing too, and I love talking about multiple sports and the similarities. Think about this. So think about we both try to get out there and hit the golf ball.
Right.
If you tense your hands up and really grip hard, what's it do? It takes away from distance. Baseball the same way. So I learned early on, if you want to move laterally, you kind of relax your body. You're not, a lot of times you're so tense moving because you got to hit somebody. But one of the things I learned is you kind of relax in your kick step, your lateral, and that allows you to frees you up. And then when you're ready to make contact, then that's when you just hunker down, man, and then you got to deliver a blow. I think that's a key to just about every sport is not letting the tension or the tightness of your body take over. And I'm still, we like I said, we get out there and try to hit that stupid little golf ball. And the longest balls we hit are the ones where you just relax, man, and just get through the ball. And it's kind of like hitting a baseball, man, that went pretty far, and it wasn't very. You didn't put a lot of effort into it. Now it's the same thing. The initial movements of, when I used to try to be loose and kick, and then like I said, then when the guy gets close, then that's when you have to be ready to start delivering a blow.
Right. I mean, watching you pass protect and watching you swing a golf club, I can see what you're talking about. There's your body, the way you had your body, like comfortable, free and easy. And then in the movement skills as a result of that, because, you're not locked up, you're not hindered, you're able to smoothly move any way you want to move, however you want to move. But then when a guy is about to make contact, you're about to make contact with the golf ball, man, all of a sudden, man, your body goes into perfect mechanical efficiency. I mean, from your toes to your hands, it's like one movement. It's like a tidal wave. It's like it starts at your toes and starts to build. You snap the hips and come up to the upper body. I mean, it's like all of a sudden, and then it ends with boom, unbelievable power and explosion. It's incredible.
Lap, and again, we talked about a little bit about being up in Kansas celebrating Jimmy. You
Yeah.
have to be taught the right stuff too. I was fortunate. I tell people I had 2 line coaches in all my years of college and pro football. My college line coach was Hudson Houck.
Yep.
Who was one of the best, coached over 30 years in the NFL. Then I go to Cincinnati, and I have Jim McNally my entire career. So once you learn your positioning, your technique, and then you can let that God-given talent take over, man, what a great combination. And, I've seen so many guys that, have really picked my brain with the technique that Jimmy taught me because they weren't getting the same technique.
Right.
We want, I know I'm not going to be a Bengal. I can't go to camp, but I want you to give me some of that stuff that you guys have, some of that good stuff. And that's been the fun thing for me is through the years of coaching pro camps, and I've worked about 6 pro camps, NFL camps, coached high school for 3 years. and just being able to teach those fundamentals that we were taught, man, but they were top level fundamentals. And then now letting that God-given talent take over with your ability to sit, your ability to explode and use your physical gifts, when knowing that you're going to be in the right position, you're going to have the right steps if you do it right. So that makes for a great combination.
There's fundamentals and techniques to any athletic endeavor, whether you're throwing a baseball, you're hitting a baseball, you're driving a golf ball, whatever the case may be. There's fundamentals and techniques, and some of them are similar, and there's tweaks here and there, but there's a lot of similarities, and we just talked about a lot of those things. But on top of that, you have to have the right mindset. You have to be mentally on point. And that's the thing that when I talk to people about Anthony Muñoz, it's like they understand, they can watch tape and they understand, oh my gosh, man, this guy's a physical marvel. I mean, he's like one of one. He's a specimen. He's and I always say to people, hey, there's nobody that can demonstrate the technique and fundamentals of playing their position in the Hall of Fame better than Anthony Muñoz can. I mean, he is picture perfect of what you would want a tackle to be. A left tackle, any young left tackle out there, go watch Anthony Muñoz tape and try to emulate as much of that as you possibly can. Some of you might not be as gifted, physically and athletically as Anthony, but do the best you can, get as close as you can to it, because that's the way it's done. But then I tell people, but mentally, you guys don't understand mentally how strong Anthony Muñoz was. I mean, in terms of not just the mentality of I'm going to be in better shape than you, I'm a better player than you, I'm going to be better than you in the second half, I'm going to be much better than you in the fourth quarter. All of that mental part of it. I mean, you were like, you feared no one, and people ended up fearing you when they ended up playing against you. That's for damn sure. But
Lap, it's and I get asked that a lot. And when I share with young people or people that it's there's different ways that people look at things. A lot of people say, "Man, you sure were tough on." I said, "Well, I don't think I was tough. I look at it as being disciplined, mentally disciplined, physically disciplined, and the things that I learned." And I share this with athletes from high school. I thought I was, I worked. Then I got to college. I learned that I could push myself even more. Then I got to the NFL and I learned I can push myself so far beyond of what I thought I could in college. And the harder I pushed, the further I pushed, not the easier, but the more comfortable, and I could push even harder. If I went out and busted myself with, 2 miles and then some 40s and some, this and that. And then the next time I added to it, but I not just did them to be comfortable, but really pushed hard. I knew that I was building into that reserve tank. And the same thing in the weight room. If I push. And that's the one thing I learned is the discipline that you had, you can push yourself further than you think you can. So many times, man, we just want to give in. But if you're truly committed to wanting to be the best, and after, leaving USC, only playing one game my senior year and being number 3 pick, I was determined that every time I put on the uniform for the Bengals, I was going to be the best out there. And I was going to not only think that, but I was going to take action. And I think, I have no regrets of what I did in the offseason or what I did preparing. I felt that I did everything I possibly could. And I know there was times Jimmy would say, "Hey, you sure you're not running too much? You sure you're not wearing?" And I'd say, "You know what? Fourth quarter, if we have to drive 80 yards and it's, 85, 90 degrees, I feel I have a reserve tank and I can push myself that much harder." So did I run too much? I don't know, but I did feel good. Well, during the game, I felt I could run and play all day long.
Third pick of the draft, like you just mentioned. Are you kidding me? Offensive lineman out of USC, third pick in the entire draft. Not a quarterback, not a running back, not a wide receiver. We're talking about a big, strong, athletic tackle. Anthony Muñoz, third pick in the draft. Forrest Gregg was head coach of the Bengals at the time. Great offensive line with the Green Bay Packers. And I remember him like it was yesterday talking about you, Ant. The first time that he went to USC and worked you out, he was telling me stories about it. He goes, this guy, I'm telling you what, Dave, this guy, man, You talk about an athlete. Oh man. And Hall of Famer himself. He knew you were going to be a Hall of Famer. I mean, to get selected as the third pick of the draft as an offensive lineman, you're in high cotton. You're in the highest cotton. There's not much cotton left on that cotton field, man. I mean, it's you. And for Forrest Gregg to make that selection, that's high praise, and he really thought the world of you, not only as a football player, because he respected Forrest was, a gifted athlete himself and had some things going for him in that regard, but he understood the value of you as a football player, dominating physically, but then the mindset of preparing the right way, and then off the football field, living your life to a highest level possible. I mean, he knew the kind of person you are, and Forrest was a good person himself. So he basically, I think when he looked at you, he saw some of himself and he said, it worked for me. And this guy is even got more than I do. I know he's going to be great. I'm taking him with the third pick of the draft.
You know what, Lap, and I'm so thankful that, not only Forrest, but, Mike Brown and Paul Brown and the Brown family took a chance on me, because quite frankly, played one healthy season, one game my senior year. But when I knew I was going to play for Forrest Gregg, it was one of those things, man. At SC, we competed. I mean, it was one-on-one. It was one against twos. I mean, we got after it. And when I got here, I said, I got to turn it up because Forrest Gregg played for Vince Lombardi.
Right.
And if whatever he asked us to do, I knew he did it.
Yeah.
So I was going to do it, and I was going to push even further beyond what he did. So when we were doing, those old up downs, man, it was tough. They were tough, man. And then getting up and circling the goalpost and up the hill to the 7-man sled.
Right.
So you had to suck it up, man. You just pushed yourself, knowing that midway through practice, you had just done probably as much conditioning as a lot of guys did in the whole practice in that first 5 minutes.
Right on.
So I was good, Nowadays, you go to camp and people think, man, wouldn't it be nice to play now? Money-wise, it would be nice.
Right.
I don't know if I would know how to act, not being able to get out there in camp and get after it, to mix it up, man, and to say, hey, we got to get ready for the football season. And that is like man on man, man. We're going 9-on-7. We're going blitz pickup. We're going team. We're going a little Oklahoma, I don't know if I would know how to, react if I was playing these days. So, compared to it was tough. It was tough, but that's how we got battle tested. That's how we got battle ready. And that's how opening week, man, we were ready to go.
No doubt. I mean, it was competitive environment. And like you say, Forrest was the ringleader there, man. Yeah. I mean, he craved it. He thrived on it. And he wanted to see it. If he didn't see it, he'd bring you up and, hey, what the hell's going on here?
Exactly.
It wasn't right.
Yeah.
This was not a good practice. But yeah, I do think that, iron sharpens iron. I thought, the years that we worked with Forrest, that we got better, as the season went on. We got better as training camp went on, and then the season starts and here we go. I thought Forrest Gregg, not only a great football coach, but a tremendous human being himself. I mean, you and Forrest Gregg, two Hall of Famers, you've got that bond, and he thought the world of you, Anth. I mean, he thought that the sun rose and set on Anthony Muñoz, and rightfully so, because you were exactly what he wanted to see in a football player. How big an impact did Forrest Gregg have in your career?
You know what? I tell people, and the same thing, Lap. I mean, here you got a Hall of Fame tackle, Hall of Fame player, played for Vince Lombardi. And for the 4 years he was here, not once did he, go out and coach his offensive line. I mean, he was the head coach. But the things he said to me were just, being called out as a rookie in front of the whole team was the one time and only time. I said, that's going to be the only time that he'll ever have that chance to do that. After we played the Green Bay up in Green Bay and we sucked and I sucked and
right.
But and I'll never forget, I made my, I was alternate Pro Bowl my rookie year, but the second year I made the Pro Bowl, and I'll never forget, he took me out of the building and he took me out on the practice field. He said, Anthony, just congratulations, you've made the Pro Bowl. And he says, but I just want to let you know, He said, now that you're a Pro Bowler, everybody you line up against here at practice, your teammates, every play you play in a game on Sunday afternoon, the guys are going to measure, they want to measure themselves up to a Pro Bowler, and that's going to be you. He says, so now you've got to take it to another level. And, coming from Forrest, who, been to a few Pro Bowls and won a few championships, I mean, I said, okay, game on, man. Your head man's telling you that. It's got to be right. So yeah, I'd say that's probably the biggest impactful thing he told me, is he took the time to just take me aside and say, congratulations, but now you got to keep it rolling, baby. And and that's the whole attitude and the discipline. And after that first Pro Bowl, I wasn't satisfied. After the fifth one, I wasn't satisfied. I felt I needed to get better, and that was my work ethic in the off season. I wasn't satisfied. I would have loved to have gone to 4 or 5 Super Bowls, but even after a Super Bowl year, I didn't take but a day or two off, and I started working again. After an 8-8 season, the same thing happened. I would take maybe a day off after that last game and start working again. But he made it clear, and that they practice reps and game reps. Man, they're going to be measuring themselves against you.
And they had an unbelievable person to measure themselves against, because Forrest said, yeah, now you got to do it again and again and again. And like you're talking about, when we talked about earlier, 1, 3, 5, no, 11 straight. I mean, that's the thing too. Not just 11 in a row. I mean, now you're into your 30s and you're still making Pro Bowls. So to me, that is, you talked about commitment, dedication, mindset, toughness, all those kind of things, to condition yourself, to get your body ready to be at a Pro Bowl level and even play at a higher level than you did the year before when you made the Pro Bowl as you were advancing in age. What was your secret recipe, man? What was your formula?
I tried to eat well. I mean, as a lineman, you try, but you got to have the good stuff too. So,
right.
But, you learn a little more about nutrition. But to me, I felt my secret sauce was just staying active year round. I didn't want to get to that last game. And, that last game, you're in pretty good shape. And then take a month off, and then you got to work yourself back into shape. I just felt, and I didn't bust it as hard that first month, but I still hit it pretty hard. Was just working, I would go and run and work the technique, even like in, January, December, February, and my thing too, I was blessed with flexibility, so I was always stretching. I would lift weights, I would stretch. I would go out and run, I would stretch before I ran, I would stretch after I ran. So to me, that was the thing that really, the flexibility that really gave me the opportunity, I think, to do the things I was doing into my 30s. And I have some grandsons now, and I tell them, hey guys, you're very talented, but man, you guys have to stretch. Make sure that you keep that flexibility in the hips and the legs. And to me, that was the key in my career.
So we talked about your physical attributes, your talents. We talked some of the mental part of the game in terms of, making sure that you were at a maximum preparation point mentally for your opponent, and you knew everything there was to know about that guy, what his strengths were, what his weaknesses were, all those kind of things. But the other part of the mental part of the game, which I know you were phenomenal with because I played right next to you, the recognition of what defenses were trying to do to us. It's like, all right, here's how they're lining up. I know what they're trying to do by lining up this way. Now, so we got that taken care of. Now they've adjusted and they're doing this. Well, okay, now we're going to adjust to this and make them adjust again. You had the mental part of the game down. You knew what your assignment was every single play, and every little adjustment that a defense could make. You knew what your assignment adjustment was to that. So not only were you a Hall of Fame player physically and, doing all your things that you can do at the highest level possible in that regard, mentally, you're a Hall of Fame player. I mean, you never had assignment breakdowns. I mean, you knew what you were supposed to do, how you were supposed to do it, when you were supposed to do it, why you were supposed to do it, as good or better than anybody I ever played with.
Well, and I think the word you use there is accountability. My first 4 years, I'm next to you, man. If anybody hasn't listened to you on the radio, man, the knowledge you have, the quarterbacks we had, starting with Kenny Anderson and Boomer,
Yep.
the coaches. So I think that comes from accountability, man. Is really no one I guess anticipation of what the defense is going to do, watching how they're lined up. Sometimes they got to cheat a little bit to do certain things. And if you can pick that up and look over just the defensive lineman that you're assigned to, or the two guys that you and me as the guard and tackle are assigned to, they'll give a little bit away. So I think, and then in the middle of the play, man, you gotta learn how to react and know exactly what's going to happen if this guy goes in or go, you know. So pre-alignment things with the defense, and those are things you just learn with experience.
Yeah. You're exactly right, Anthony. And we talked about, the physical and mental part of it now. And we both played long enough where we saw guys that would come to training camp that were like, man, this dude's a beast physically. But boy, not sure if he can tell you what day it is. I mean, I'm not, I don't know about lining up next to him and feeling comfortable that, when I make a call, he's digesting what we're talking about here. So that's the thing. I mean, all the young players out there, make sure you develop both phases of your game. Make sure that you're not only trying to become as talented physically as you can, but your term mental acuity is perfect. Make sure you're trying to be as sharp in that area as you possibly can be as well, because to get to the highest level, the level that you played at, and the highest level of the highest level in the Hall of Fame, and the greatest lineman to ever play, in my opinion, maybe the greatest football player to ever play, in my opinion, you have to be sharp with the mental acuity as well, right?
You really do. And a lot of times people just see us go out on Sunday and play, and they think, but then when you tell me all the time we spend in the classroom, in the playbook, watching tape, at nighttime, you go home, you take video home, you watch, and you study game plan. So yeah, I really stress that, you can be physically gifted, but like you said, a lot of times there are guys how many guys have we seen come in, and you want those guys getting off the bus first when you go into a opposing team city, but they just can't grasp what you're trying to do offensively or defensively. They can't grasp the game plan. They can't, take it and. So yeah, you have to be able to handle both ends, the mental and the physical.
Yeah, the guy that looks like Tarzan plays like James,
exactly.
not going to cut the mustard. There's no doubt. We talked a little bit about the gathering, Jim McNally, his event up in Canton, and a lot of guys from the '80s, showed up, and it's kind of like there are a couple of offensive lines. There's an offensive line in the early '80s and an offensive line in the later '80s, and Max, you and myself were from the early '80s, the '80, '81 group, and then you and Max also played in the '88, '89 group. I didn't. You guys, the guys that it's amazing that you guys were the staple. You were the common denominator for both lines, and filled in with players that could play, obviously in other position groups. But you and Max, to be the cornerstones, the stalwarts of those two offensive lines in the 1980s, in the golden years, the golden era of the Cincinnati Bengals. What does that mean to you?
It means a lot. I mean, first of all, the durability, being able to last a long time. And, Max was here a year before I got here, and then we ended up playing about 10 years together.
Right.
So the fact that we could endure and go through that, and the main thing is, you last that long when you maintain your the level of production, and we were able to do that. So, the fact that we were able to experience both Super Bowls together, and there's 5 or 6 guys that, the Jim Breach and the Reggie Williams, and that were able to experience both the Super Bowls.
Right.
That means a lot, and it's the longevity. And that was one of my, we talked about when I first got here. One of my goals was to play over 10 years, and I had a chance to do that. So, but yeah, it's pretty special that we can hang out with you, and I mean the relationships, and when we're up there, even though you, Max, and I were the early '80s, and the other guys, it felt like we were just all together, through the '80s, all teammates. That's how comfortable it is, and that's how the bond is with all of us. Even though it's two different little, same decade, but two different periods of time. It really didn't seem that when we were together.
You're exactly right, Ant. I mean, it's crazy. And of course, you know, I was fortunate enough to be able to cover you guys from a broadcast standpoint with the way you guys played in the later 80s. So I kind of felt like, you know, there wasn't any blip in the screen. There wasn't any disconnect. I was just kind of flowing through covering you guys. But to watch and to be part of the football friendships, I guess that's the way I'll term it.
Right. Yeah.
Like you talk about the bonds that are made with guys that play on successful football teams in general. I mean, like we talk about the grind of training camp all the way through the season, fighting through injuries, fighting through adversity, the whole, you know, responding to adversity, all of that. Those make for lasting friendships, lasting bonds for your whole life, really. And it's a good example of it. I hadn't seen a lot of guys for 20, 25 years.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden, everybody comes to Jim McNally's. We're sitting around a table and telling stories and laughing and joking around. And it's like, I feel like I'm 1981. You know, I feel like
exactly.
It's crazy.
The great thing about it, but think about the fraternity, the bond of a football team, but then you take an individual unit like the offensive line.
Right.
How many other positions would you have 10 guys if a coach is being honored, that 10 guys that didn't play? I mean, you might have 10 guys that played throughout an era for a certain coach,
right,
but not 10 guys that played together at one time. And I think not only as the fraternity of retired football players or guys that played in the league, but now you got this unit, the offensive line, that is amazing too. And I tell people, you know, I got to experience that up in Canton. And then when Dede and I go back west, we have like 5 linemen that we met as freshmen at USC. And that next year, that'd be 50 years that I was a freshman at USC.
Wow.
And we still go out to dinner and stuff. So we got those 5 linemen, then we got these guys. So the offensive line is pretty unique unit of, you know, the friendships, the brotherhood that you build over the years.
You know, it is, Anthony, and you know, it may sound cornball to people, but you know, particularly if you hadn't played a team sport, but the offensive line is kind of like the epitome of the team within the team, because so codependent. You know, it's like we talk about the fifths, five offensive linemen doing their job, everybody doing what they're supposed to do, when they're supposed to do it, how they're supposed to do it, why they're supposed to do it, knowing why, and 5 guys get it done, make a powerful fist. You know, if 1 or 2 don't, you don't have that powerful fist. So it's like that football bond is huge. And then we talk about the bond off the football field. The friendship bond is big, but on the football field, that bond and being able to, you know, make that powerful fist and being able to make adjustments with each other, right next to each other, make calls when the defense does this, we're going to do this. I mean, it's a unique experience to rely on each other for success, the way an offensive line has to in the National Football League, isn't it?
It really is, you know, and the thing I share a lot is, you know, early on you talked about it, and when I go out speak, and people always talk about all my accolades and stuff, man, but if I hadn't played with all you guys, I mean, for that length of time, I mean, my first 4 years next to you, then Reimers for like 7, 8 years, I had Max on the line, Joe, Kaz, and then you put McNally in there as a coach. I mean, it is so crucial. I tell people I had one offensive line coach in the NFL, and they're like, "What?" And then I said, I played basically next to 2 guards in the NFL. I mean, Bouge a little bit, but most of it was probably you and Reimers.
Right.
You know, maybe a little bit somebody else after Reimers left. But that's also rare. So the fact that we can play together so long and build that continuity and that makes such a big difference, man. But it's just, you know, I'm just grateful and thankful that I had all you guys to play with and Jimmy to coach me. And I mean, think about the offenses we had and the players around us, you know, Kenny Anderson, Boomer Esiason. I mean, that makes for a lot of fun and makes for a lot of great laughs and stories now that we're older.
No doubt about it. All right, so let's talk about some of the accolades, individual accolades of Anthony Muñoz. Because you obviously are offensive line. It takes 5 to to perform at a high level, obviously, and score points and get wins and get the job done. But you were unbelievable. 11 straight Pro Bowls, obviously. That to me is mind-boggling. That is one of one. I don't think anybody will ever come close to breaking that. I don't think anybody will. I just don't see it. I don't see anybody playing at a high enough level for 11 straight years to make a Pro Bowl. NFL 1980s All-Decade Team. NFL Man of the Year in 1991. How about that? Man of the Year. What was that like, Ant? When you get that honor, what were you feeling?
Unbelievable. You can be lineman of the year, you can be all pro, but this is something that encompasses you as a person, what you do with your family, in the community, in addition on the field. So, and then it carries the name now of one of the best guys that ever played the game, Walter Payton, the Walter Payton NFL Man of the Year.
Right.
No, that's pretty special. That's my family room, I have basically three big trophies up there. One of them is the Man of the Year, one of them is the NFL bust, and then one of them is the first offensive lineman of the year trophy I got. But yeah, the Man of the Year is amazing.
So we mentioned 11-time Pro Bowler, 9 of those first team All Pro, 1981 to 83, then 85 to 90. So 3 years in a row, 81, 82, 83, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99, 90, 6 years in a row.
I slacked off 2 years as all pro.
Yeah, right. All you did was make second team. But I mean, the fact that you had, those many years in a row, and but to make the Pro Bowl 11 straight years, and to make first team All Pro 9 of those 11 years, that's never going to be done. I mean, that's one of one. That's something that, and we all got to look at your bust up there in the Hall of Fame at Jimmy's deal, and 11-time All Pro, 9 straight first team All Pro. I mean, that's like, what? That's kids are going to look at that with their dads and go, wow, that guy must have been good.
Hey, Lap, let me tell you something. 11 straight Pro Bowls. I wanted to be the best, but come on, seriously. A paid vacation in Hawaii is worth busting your butt. I tell you, that week in Hawaii, that's pretty nice trip for an All-Star game.
That's great. That is great. So, yeah, Bengals Ring of Honor. Obviously, you're one of the originals in the Bengals Ring of Honor. 40th anniversary team, 50th anniversary team. The Bart Starr Award. That's another one that encompasses character and everything with that as well, doesn't it? How important was that for you?
So that's basically the same as the NFL Man of the Year given by Athletes in Action, the sports ministry. Bart Starr was a big fan. He lent his name. If you look at the list, it's unbelievable. The majority of the guys are also in the Hall of Fame. So to be in that fraternity too, it's basically the same thing. It's character, home on the field, in the community, in addition to what you do on the field. So that Bart Starr Award and the Man of the Year are right there next to each other.
How about the California Sports Hall of Fame? How important is that one to you?
I tell you what, I know a lot of people are biased about their states as far as, people talk about Texas and, Florida football and Ohio. But to be in that California, I mean, we had 3 years ago, we had the inaugural High School Football Hall of Fame, and I got to be on the selection committee, and we had to pick 100 guys. And I tell you what, Lap, the guys that played high school football in California, I think out of that 100 that we chose the inaugural class, I think there's 40 in the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
Wow.
Yeah. In the high 30s, 40, yeah. I mean, so that's pretty special because that was the years before I was high school and in college. But yeah, that's pretty special.
So of all the honors, and you are so highly decorated, I mean, this is probably an unfair question, but I'm going to ask it anyway because I'm going to be a little bit of a jerk. But of all the honors that you've earned, and they're all well deserved, well earned, is there one that you're like, man, this one, I really love the fact that I was able to accomplish enough to garner all these awards, but this one is unique. This one's special to me. Is there one?
Well, I think I mean, this is a tough question. I think because of how my college career went, and I still pinch myself even today, how my college career went, how, a lot of people said, pick something else, football is no longer going to be in your future after I played in that Rose Bowl my senior year. And I'm not one, and if there's a pet peeve statement that I don't like to hear, it's chip on the shoulder. Because I look at it, it's your job. Not that you have a chip on it, but it's your job. You should be able to do it because it's your job.
Right.
And I guess the Hall of Fame induction after only playing half the games in college and people saying that I wouldn't be drafted, I wouldn't, have a chance to play in the NFL. But I got a chance, and then I took advantage of that and worked extremely hard. I guess the accumulation of everything and the adversity, the success, and it'd have to be the Hall of Fame, being inducted in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. And I know it's an individual award. I mean, it might be, yeah, I'd have to say probably that because of, what I went through in the 4 years at USC, and then having a chance by the Brown family to be a member of the Bengals for 13 years.
And overcoming adversity is what it's all about, right? And when you can overcome adversity, be it an injury in college or high school or in the National Football League, or, being let go by one team and going to another, and then building a great career, and even, making a Pro Bowl career out of it after being let go by one team, whatever that was, that adversity was that you overcame. That's what it's all about, right? And that's what it's all about in life. Forget football. It's about how do you bounce back from adversity in life?
That's right.
And you can learn a lot from football in terms of applying that to your life, how you can bounce back. I don't think I know anyone that faced the level of adversity that you faced at the collegiate level, bounce back to 11 straight Pro Bowls in a pro career.
It's interesting because when I talk to young people, I talk to, adults, and I tell them I've not met a football player that hasn't been knocked down. We've all been knocked down, man. I don't care if you're, when you're in the league or a Hall of Famer, but it's what you do after you get knocked down. I said, life, I've not met anybody that's been successful that hasn't been knocked down, but it's how are you going to get back up? Are you going to have the courage to get back up and get after it again? And that's the whole thing, man. It's like, you get knocked down, you get back up. You get knocked down, you just have to keep getting back up. And in athletics, in life, that's what it's all about.
Well, you've had an unbelievable athletic career. You've had a life that's second to none. I mean, so many people love and respect Anthony Muñoz, not just in the football world, but the world in general. I mean, I think you are as universally respected and loved as anybody that I know. And truth is, Anthony Muñoz is one of the finest human beings to walk God's green earth. There's no question about that. And God bless you and your family, Anthony. You're the best.
Hey, Lap, appreciate it, buddy, man. Love you. You're the best. Anytime you call me to do a show, I love talking because, as we said, we reminisce, we talk about some fun stuff. But thank you for those kind words, and always a pleasure.
You're one of one. They broke the mold, my man. Take care, Anth.
All right. I'll see you soon.
Yes, sir.
Bye-bye.
Dave Lapham here. While games are over for the season, there's no off-season for In the Trenches with Dave Lapham or First Star Logistics. First Star Logistics gave away great prizes during the season, which will continue with exclusive content in the First Star Media Group YouTube channel. So please, do me a favor. Subscribe to In the Trenches, hit the like button, and visit the First Star Media Group YouTube channel for exclusive content and special giveaways.